Lisa, what happened all of a sudden? As I ran out into the garden, my father-in-law was in the middle of starting a fire for the barbecue. Seeing that, I threw the baby clothes I was holding, bag and all, into the flames. The baby clothes flew out of the bag, caught fire, and as they burned, my in-laws looked at me, puzzled. When they realized that what I had thrown was a baby present from Michelle, they opened their eyes wide and raised their voices. Why would you do that? I pointed at the part of the baby clothes that hadn't burned yet and said to my in-laws, "Did you see this?" Huh? The two of them peered in closely. My mother-in-law covered her mouth, and my father-in-law furrowed his brow. Michelle, is this really? After hearing everything, my in-laws' faces turned red with anger. Especially surprising was my mother-in-law. Usually, she is so calm and elegant, but now she looked like a demon and spoke in a sharp voice. "This is unacceptable. It's absolutely wrong." I agree. And with that, they stormed out of the garden with demonic expressions. My name is Lisa Harrison, and I'm 28 years old. Last month, I gave birth to my daughter, Emma. Emma will be exactly 1 month old tomorrow. Due to my husband Mike's busy work schedule, I had been staying at my parents' home in the neighboring state before giving birth. Now, after the birth, I'm enjoying a pampered life under the gentle care of my mother, but this lifestyle is planned to last only until next week. It's going to be hard to leave, isn't it? My mother says while rocking Emma in her arms. I actually wish I could stay here forever. I cannot express enough gratitude for all the help my mother has provided during this month. She served delicious meals 3 times a day, and of course, took care of all the household chores like laundry. I was able to focus solely on taking care of Emma. Even when I was feeling bad due to Emma's crying at night, my mother would take turns holding her. Soon, I will have to leave this warm and cozy space and return to the apartment where my husband awaits. It would be nice if you could stay a little longer. Well, yeah. Being told that makes me want to be spoiled a bit more, but my husband's longing for Emma was also intense. I can't wait to see you, Emma. Daddy is so lonely without you. Every night, he would call and urge us to come home, and it seemed cruel to make him wait any longer. I'll visit again soon, so call me if you need anything. I'm not very worried about my husband or childcare. What I'm really worried about is something else. I think it will probably be fine, though. And so, the following week, Emma and I returned to the apartment where my husband was waiting. Emma, you're so cute. Returning from my parents' home, our life as a family of 3 began. My husband managed to adjust his busy work schedule to come home earlier. He was wholeheartedly looking forward to seeing Emma. Now, let's get the dishes done. No, it's okay, I'll do it. Emma, wait with mommy, okay? Oh, thank you. I'm so happy. My husband, who actively helped with the household chores when I was still in pain after childbirth, looked like a hero to me. I knew I wasn't wrong about him. I was happy to be blessed with a wonderful husband and a cute child. However, while you can choose your spouse, whether you are blessed with their family and relatives is a matter of luck. I loved my in-laws because they were sensible people and treated me well. My brother-in-law, my husband's brother, was also a friendly person who often spoke to me. I initially thought his wife, Michelle, was a good person too. Michelle was 35, 7 years older than me. She and my brother-in-law got married the year before my husband and I did. Their house was in the same town as ours, and they lived on the same property as my in-laws. In separate houses. It seemed that Michelle had a good relationship with her in-laws as well. We both smiled and agreed when Michelle said it was nice to have good mothers-in-law. In retrospect, I think Michelle's attitude changed after she found out I was pregnant. Once I reached a stable period in my pregnancy, my husband and I went to inform my in-laws. They were thrilled to hear the news. Let us know if you need anything, and please, don't overexert yourself. They said, showing their concern, which made my husband and I a bit shy as we thanked them and went home. That night, I received a call from Michelle. She had asked for my number when we first met. But this was the first time she had actually called me. Hey, Lisa? I heard the news, why didn't you tell me sooner? I was momentarily confused, but quickly realized she was talking about my pregnancy. I'm sorry, I thought it would be better to wait until the stable period, just in case. I replied, feeling a bit guilty. Then, Michelle said something shocking while laughing. Well, that makes sense. But remember, just because you're in a stable period doesn't mean everything will go smoothly from here on. Something could still happen. I was stunned. On the other end of the phone, Michelle was laughing. She might not have meant any harm. But being pregnant made me more sensitive than usual, and I couldn't just laugh it off. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well, can we talk another time? Well, I guess pregnancy does make you worry about everything, even small things. But I think you're overthinking it. Anyway, let me know if anything changes, okay? After hanging up the phone, I felt really sick and ended up in bed. Since then, I have developed an aversion to Michelle. I even discussed it with my husband. What the hell is that about? I'm going to give your brother a piece of my mind. My husband was outraged and intended to confront my brother-in-law, but I managed to stop him. What Michelle had said was shocking, but I had a rough idea of her motives. My brother-in-law and his wife, Michelle, didn't have any children yet. Although my in-laws aren't the type to pressure anyone about having children or carrying on the family line, Michelle, due to her age, must have been feeling anxious. I plan to have about 3 children. Michelle had said herself. So, hearing that I, younger than her, was pregnant, she must have been upset. It's okay, you don't have to say anything to them. I'm just a bit scared of Michelle right now. I see, I understand. In that case, Lisa, you shouldn't go back to our parents' house for a while. I'll tell Mom and the others that you're not feeling well, so it should be okay. Thanks, that helps a lot. My brother-in-law and Michelle live right next door to my in-laws. There's a high chance of running into her if we visit my in-laws. So, I was relieved by the solution my husband offered. I didn't have to go to my in-laws' house anymore. Then, during that time, I started receiving several calls from Michelle. At first, I answered, but she kept saying insensitive things, so I decided not to pick up when I was alone. I only answered the phone when my husband was with me, and if she said something unpleasant, I would quickly make up an excuse and hang up. Hey, Lisa's been kind of distant lately, hasn't she? She doesn't come over, and she hangs up the phone really quickly. Michelle said this to my husband when he visited my in-laws' house alone. Of course, he couldn't say. It's because your words hurt her. So he just laughed it off. She seems to be feeling unwell. She's been sleeping a lot lately. It was a lie, but it was necessary, and Michelle seemed satisfied with his answer. I wonder if the baby will be born safely then. She remarked sarcastically. My husband was so angry he almost hit her, but he quickly left instead. After that, as my husband got busier with work and was worried about leaving me alone, he suggested I go back to my parents' house earlier than planned. And then, Emma was born safely. That was a huge relief. But now, the real problem starts. Actually, tomorrow, our family is supposed to visit my in-laws' house. Since I chose to give birth at my parents' house, my in-laws haven't met Emma yet. So, as soon as we got back, we planned to visit my in-laws. But, they surprised us with their response. We're happy, but we'll pass for now. You must be busy and tired. We're really looking forward to meeting Emma, but you should prioritize your family life first. To be honest, during that period, just like my mother-in-law said, we still didn't have much room in our life and it was tough. The baby, Emma, grows so fast. We wanted to introduce her to my in-laws soon, but after discussing with my husband, Mike, we decided to wait until we were more settled. Now that our lives have finally stabilized, we decided to take Emma to visit them tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing my mother-in-law and the others, but I wonder if it'll be okay. What concerned us, of course, were my brother-in-law and his wife, Michelle. This time, it would be strange not to inform them, so we told my brother-in-law and his wife about our visit tomorrow. Then, my brother-in-law said, "We'll bring some gifts too." And we received a reply. Well, this time it's not just Michelle, but my brother will be there, and my parents too, so I don't think anything weird will happen. Yeah, I think so. If anything happened, we decided to leave immediately, and with that in mind, we visited my in-laws' house. Welcome. I'm sorry for making you come all this way. It's been a while. At first, we considered inviting my in-laws to our house, but then we wouldn't be able to escape if needed. So we judged it would be easier to handle if we visited them instead. Wow, she's so cute. She's so tiny, precious. Seeing my mother-in-law so excited and my father-in-law tearing up, I felt a pang of regret that we hadn't introduced Emma to them sooner. Now that it's come to this, We want them to spoil her as much as possible. Fortunately, Emma was well behaved even when my in-laws held her. Emma seems happy, and I'm happy too. So I asked my mother-in-law and father-in-law to look after Emma while we were there. After a while, my brother-in-law and his wife, Michelle, arrived. We were nervous at that moment, but Michelle seemed more excited than anyone else. Oh my gosh, what a cute face! Can I hold her? Although I was full of anxiety, I couldn't refuse to let only Michelle hold her. With Mike on one side and me in front, we were completely on guard as Michelle held Emma. Ah, she's so cute! What's this? She's so warm. I want her, gimme, Lisa. Hey, Michelle. Sorry, it's just her usual joke. My brother-in-law laughed, but Mike couldn't stand it and took Emma back in just a few seconds, saying, "It's time for a diaper change," and went to another room with Emma. Is he being a modern dad? It's probably just for now, but it's amazing, Mike. He's been doing great. He helps with the housework and childcare more than I do, so it's really helpful. Ha, I didn't expect to hear you bragging about him. Be careful, it's embarrassing to be lovey-dovey at your age. While laughing and making a sharp comment, Michelle handed me a paper bag. It's a baby gift. It's late because you wouldn't let us see her. Oh, thank you. Inside the large paper bag was a wrapped bag. Please, open it when you get back to the apartment. It's kind of embarrassing. Yes, thank you. After giving us the baby gift, my brother-in-law and his wife, Michelle, quickly went back to their home next door. I wonder what my brother and his wife gave us. They said to open it when we get back home. Nobody's here right now, and my mom and dad are gone, so let's open it. My mother-in-law was preparing dinner in the kitchen, and my father-in-law was preparing a barbecue in the backyard. Yeah, we should start thinking about a thank you gift soon. Emma is sleeping soundly in Mike's arms. As I tore the wrapping paper, a set of luxury branded baby clothes came out. Cute clothes, aren't they? It's a famous luxury brand for baby clothes. I feel bad for doubting so much and receiving something this nice. Feeling guilty, I picked up the baby clothes, which were still in a transparent bag. Then, I suddenly felt something was off. There is no tag on this. I didn't notice it because it was nicely wrapped, but there should be a tag if it's new. Maybe they removed it because it's a gift? Price tags are usually removed, but the tags are mostly kept. Feeling somewhat uneasy, I closely examined the baby clothes I had taken out of the bag. And then, I saw something. I couldn't help but let out a small scream. Why is this? In a panic, I stuffed the baby clothes back into the bag and rushed outside with it in my hand. Lisa, what happened all of a sudden? When I stepped out into the garden, my father-in-law was in the middle of starting a fire. Seeing the fire, I threw the baby clothes, still in the bag, into the flames. The fire caught onto the baby clothes that flew out of the bag and started burning. Lisa, what is this? My father-in-law was confused by my actions. My mother-in-law, holding vegetables, came over. I brought some vegetables. What's going on? Why are you burning clothes? My in-laws, looking puzzled, got a breathless, trembling answer from me. This is a baby gift we just received from Michelle. My in-laws' eyes widened in shock. In the fire? Why would you do that? I pointed to a part of the baby clothes that hadn't burned yet and said to my in-laws, "Did you see this?" The next moment, my mother-in-law covered her mouth and my father-in-law frowned deeply. Did Michelle really give this? Yes. I felt weak and wobbly, and I dropped to my knees on the spot. Are you all right? Mike, who came out a little later holding Emma, handed her to my mother-in-law and came over to me. My father-in-law spoke to Mike. Mike, this is from Michelle, right? Yeah, we just received it and opened it in the room. This. My mother-in-law closed her eyes tightly and shook her head in bitterness. Being supported by Mike, I managed to calm down. I've always been terrified of bugs, I'm sorry. I impulsively threw it into the fire. I should have checked better, none of them were alive. No, even if they weren't alive, this is terrible. My father-in-law twisted his face and turned over the baby clothes with tongs. Yes, the inside of the baby clothes was covered with several bugs. I have always been terrified of bugs. I wanted to throw them away as soon as I noticed, but I saw something that looked like a bee, and thinking of Emma, I impulsively ran outside. And seeing the fire my father-in-law was tending to, I threw them in. But why would she do something like this? Mike and I exchanged glances. No, this is too much. We can't stay silent about this. I nodded, and Mike told my in-laws about all the remarks I had received from Michelle. After hearing everything, my in-laws turned red with anger. Especially surprising was my mother-in-law. She is usually so calm and elegant, but now she looked like a demon and let out a deep, threatening voice. This is unacceptable and intolerable. I agree. With demonic expressions, both of them stormed out of the garden. In a hurry, Mike and I, still holding Emma, followed them. Naturally, we headed to my brother-in-law's house. Open up quickly! My mother-in-law raised her voice, and my brother-in-law came out with a surprised face. Wow, it's been a while since I saw that face, Mom. What's going on? Everyone's here. Where is Michelle? She's inside, cleaning up. Seems like she lost something. As soon as she heard that, my mother-in-law said, We're coming in. And walked briskly inside. We followed her in. What? Why are you all coming in without asking? The house was cluttered with stuff. Michelle was on her knees, apparently searching for something. We need to talk. Sit down. Michelle reluctantly obeyed my mother-in-law's command. It didn't feel right to leave everything to my mother-in-law, and I couldn't be at peace. I stepped forward and faced Michelle. We opened the present. Michelle's eyes darted around. But she quickly regained a serious expression. You broke the promise, Lisa. I told you to open it after you get back to the apartment. Don't change the subject. What was that? What does it mean? What do you mean? My voice got louder with Michelle playing dumb. It was full of bugs. Michelle momentarily relaxed her mouth but raised her voice in surprise. Really? It's summer, so maybe they got in during shipping. They weren't on the wrapping paper. Only on the baby clothes inside. And only on the inside. Is that even possible? Maybe they got mixed in during packing? That's not good, cheap contractors. She insisted as if it was some kind of mistake. I only ordered online, but I'll apologize on behalf of the contractor. Sorry. So you're blaming it all on the contractor? Well, yeah. Would I deliberately do that? Don't say strange things without any evidence. Certainly, I can't say anything if she denies everything. If she says she doesn't know, that's the end of it. There's no evidence. There are emails about the statement, but I can't press her any further about the gift. Well, she may be misunderstood, but she wouldn't do something that bad. If she did, I would divorce. It would be divorce, right? I can't complain if I get divorced for that. Michelle laughed loudly. Even my brother-in-law, who was nodding his head, felt infuriating. The moment I picked up the baby clothes, I was more terrified of the possibility that Emma might get stung than I hated the bugs. Even though she made me feel that way, I couldn't believe she only offered such a casual apology. If we're done talking, can you leave? I'm busy. Then my brother-in-law, who had been looking puzzled, asked Michelle casually. By the way, what have you been looking for? Michelle shuddered her shoulders and answered awkwardly. Well, it's better to be found out now than later. I lost my wedding ring. What? Why? That was expensive, you know? We even put a diamond on it because you wanted one. Wedding ring. I gasped and ran out of my brother-in-law and Michelle's house. As I thought. I went back to the garden. Near the burnt baby clothes, there was something shiny. When I grabbed it with the fire tongs, it was a ring with a diamond. I had my husband, who came later, bring Michelle. When I showed her the ring, it was indeed Michelle's wedding ring. It's here. Oh my, did you hide it, Lisa? Michelle reached out for the ring with a laugh. Then, ouch! She immediately pulled her hand back. What is this? It's hot. What did you do to my ring? I didn't do anything. I just threw the bug-infested baby clothes into the fire. Michelle's face turned pale quickly. Michelle, why was your wedding ring inside the baby clothes you only ordered online? Well, that's, my brother-in-law said it, right? My brother-in-law, who was suddenly called, blinked at me. A woman who does such a thing deserves a divorce. I did say that. But I never thought Michelle would do something like that. I pressed my brother-in-law. Are you making excuses? No, it's just. My brother-in-law glanced at Michelle.
Is this some kind of joke? It can't be true.
Michelle opened and closed her mouth, shaking her head. At that moment, a decisive voice rang out.
Stop it now!
It's my mother-in-law. She stood between my brother-in-law and Michelle, glaring at each of them sternly.
I don't care whether you two break up or not. But don't think you can get away with scaring my precious daughter-in-law.
My mother-in-law pulled me close by my shoulder and declared loudly.
We will sever ties with you today. Pack your things and leave, now. Wait a minute.
The couple tried to cling to my mother-in-law, but she didn't give them the slightest chance.
If people like you stay here, my cute daughter-in-law and grandchild might not come to visit, right?
Right? Asked by my mother-in-law, I reflexively responded. Yes. And then she smiled and nodded.
See, that's why you should leave now.
The couple mumbled complaints, but they were eventually kicked out. I'm sorry, Lisa. I didn't notice. No, but is it okay? I mean, Michelle is one thing, but your son is your own flesh and blood. He tends to get carried away, but when it's time to take responsibility, he immediately runs away. This time, something really terrible happened, and I couldn't forgive him for laughing. Moreover, it's unacceptable that he didn't even apologize to you guys, despite what his wife did. My mother-in-law looked sad, but then she smiled and said, Well, I still have a husband. In the end, the couple divorced. Actually, their relationship had been broken for a while. That's probably why Michelle didn't like me and my husband, who got along well. She only talked about wanting children, but it seemed that she didn't really want them. By the way, Michelle, who had been a housewife since getting married, is now desperately looking for a job. The couple had a habit of wasting money, and it seemed they had no savings. They were evicted from the house by my mother-in-law and are now homeless. As for me, I visit my in-laws almost every week and take a rest there. Why don't you take a nap? Emma is sleeping too. Thank you. Lately, they even let me take naps. I feel a bit spoiled, but my husband says it makes his parents happy, so it's okay. I'm happy to have married into a family with someone like you as a mother. I shyly told my mother-in-law on her birthday. She blushed even more than I did, and it was adorable. My husband said, Well, she is my wife, after all.